So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News in Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs in a short span of time. Now, the idea is that after watching this lecture, you have to revise it because revision helps in consolidating these current affairs in your memory. So please revise these current affairs from the notes provided by us, and these notes are provided on our Telegram channel. The link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section just below this video. So don't forget to revise, okay? It's important. Alright then, let's begin today's lecture starting with the topic list first. First, we'll discuss what news items we are going to discuss in today's lecture, okay? So, daily current affairs, 23rd July, Wednesday, and here is the topic list. So, in total, we'll be covering 4 topics, okay? Topic number 1 is, well, it was a big article that featured in the Hindu newspaper, which was about India's nuclear power promise. India is currently expanding its nuclear power generation capacity, okay, and putting in a lot of effort and monetary resources in that. So we'll talk about this, why nuclear energy is important. Then recently, scientists and researchers at Bose Institute, well, they have created a fungus-resistant pineapple. Okay, so we'll talk about this news in brief. Then third news item is very important because United States under Donald Trump has decided to come out of UNESCO. We all know about UNESCO, okay? United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, right? It is very important. It is the same organization that has World Heritage Sites, all these things, right? So USA has decided to withdraw from it. Now, what are the reasons behind that? And what is UNESCO? What are its functions? We'll talk about this. And in the end, we'll talk about National Broadcasting Day because 23rd July every year is celebrated as National Broadcasting Day because many years back on this day, well, India made its first radio broadcast. Okay, so we'll talk about the history of radio in India through National Broadcasting Day. Okay, so these are the 4 topics that we shall zero in our attention on. Let's start discussing them one by one, starting with topic number 1, and that is India's nuclear power promise. Now look, the thing is that as a developing country and as a country which has ambitions to grow and become a developed country, we require energy. Okay, we need energy, electricity and other forms of energy. Now the problem is that, well, India needs energy, but around 60 to 70% of our electricity power generation comes from coal power plants or coal-fired power plants, which are also known as thermal power plants. So 60 to 70% of our electricity comes from thermal power plants. Now, in future, with growing population, India's energy demands are also going to increase. If India wants to become Vikasit Bharat or a developed country by 2047, well, India's energy requirements or demands are going to increase, plus India's population is also increasing. So that means more demand for electricity. Right? Now, the problem is that climate change will stop us from expanding our thermal power generation capacity. Okay? We need more electricity, we need more energy, but we can't get that more energy, extra energy from thermal power plants. We have to look for renewable energy because coal-fired power plants emit a lot of greenhouse gases, which is causing global warming, climate change. Okay? So there is demand for energy, but that demand can't come from thermal power plants, the most dominant source of electricity for Indians. Clear? So where will we look? Where will we get this energy? Well, we look towards solar and wind. Okay, and that is why Indian government is expanding solar power plants, okay, wind power plants. There is a genuine effort to create more capacity of these solar and wind power plants. Okay, now the thing is that the problem with solar and wind power generation is that it is intermittent. Okay, solar power can be only generated when sun is, well, shining bright and high in the sky. Okay, during cloudy weather or during night, well, you can't produce solar energy. And same goes for wind also. Okay, when wind is blowing, wind energy is produced. When wind is not blowing, well, wind energy can't be produced, right? That's very simple. Okay, so we call this problem as the problem of intermittency. It is intermittent in nature. It is not a constant supply. That is why we are looking towards nuclear energy, because advantage number one of nuclear energy is, well, it doesn't emit any greenhouse gases. So our climate change goal gets sorted. The other is it does not have any problem of intermittency. As long as you have nuclear fuel, you can produce electricity constantly. Okay, that is why government is pushing hard towards nuclear power generation capacity, expanding it. In fact, in this year's budget, government announced that we are going to reach 100 gigawatts of nuclear power generation capacity by 2047. So by 2047, 100 gigawatts of electricity shall be produced from nuclear power plants. Currently, the capacity is 8. So in these years, till 2047, we have to increase nuclear power generation capacity by 92 gigawatts. Now that is a very ambitious target, but government is really focused towards it. Okay, so we'll talk about this thing. Clear? So India's nuclear power promise. So here we go. So issues, I'm so sorry about this. This is from previous days. So Union Budget of 25-26 marked a significant shift in India's nuclear energy plan, because government in this budget announced an ambitious target of 100 gigawatt of power generation capacity by 2047. Currently, it's 8 gigawatts. Now, this positions nuclear power as a major pillar in India's energy mix, given the two goals of emerging as a developed country. Okay, India has two goals, and to achieve those two goals, well, you need nuclear energy. What are those two goals? Number one, we want to become a developed country by 2047, Vikasit Bharat, right? And because India has a goal of becoming a developed country, there will be high energy demand, because you need electricity for factories and many other things. Okay, so there is high energy demand if India wants to become Vikasit, but that energy demand has to be met without emitting greenhouse gases. Okay, we have to achieve net zero emissions by 2070. So if we want to achieve both these goals simultaneously, then you have to go nuclear. Okay, that's the issue. That's the thing. Now, before we move ahead, we need to be aware of India's nuclear history. Okay, how nuclear energy has evolved over time. Okay, and then we'll talk about the current situation, current challenges, and current reforms undertaken by the government. Clear? So if we talk about India's nuclear history, well, India was an early mover, in Asia at least. Okay, because Asia's first research nuclear reactor, Asia's first research nuclear reactor was called Apsara, which was formed in India. Okay, in early 1960s, 61, 62. Okay, so it was then. So early 1960s, we created a research nuclear reactor. Then we created a proper nuclear reactor. Then what happened? Well, first of all, USA and Western nations did not want nuclear energy to proliferate. They did not want other countries to make nuclear bombs. Okay, therefore, they created an international treaty called Non-Proliferation Treaty, under which USA said that you promise, whichever country signs this treaty will say that I will not make nuclear weapons. In return, USA and Western nations would give them the technology to make nuclear electricity. Okay, so if you give up nuclear bombs, you will get nuclear electricity. That's the idea of NPT. India refused to sign it, so USA got angry. Then India, well, it was called Peaceful Nuclear Explosion in 1974. We basically showcased our ability to detonate a nuclear bomb. Clear? So the world was not happy with us. So this was a problem. Therefore, USA and Western nations kept us out of the global nuclear order. They restricted supply of uranium, which is an important nuclear fuel. Okay, so we were kept out of the global nuclear order. Okay, uranium was not available to us, especially enriched uranium was not available to us, and this basically impeded our nuclear progress. Nonetheless, with the help of Soviet Union, we created pressurized heavy water reactors, which do not require enriched uranium. Okay, and we basically started producing electricity from these. So India was self-reliant when it comes to nuclear electricity. Clear? But after intense negotiations with USA, well, India was inducted into the global nuclear order and the supply of enriched uranium was resumed. Okay, India was even given a waiver from nuclear suppliers group. These are some groups. Well, nuclear supplier group is a group of those countries which supply enriched uranium. Okay, so India was allowed to import from these countries. Clear? Because India struck a deal, nuclear deal with USA. Okay, I'm not getting deep into that entire story, but I'm just telling you that in 2000s, India negotiated with USA to allow India to participate in nuclear energy, the global nuclear order, and India was admitted. Okay, from then onwards, well, we are part of the global nuclear order. But we were not that comfortable with nuclear energy because nuclear power plants are prone to accidents. Okay, but now the government is realizing that if you want to achieve the goal of climate change or fighting against climate change and expanding your power generation capacity, you need nuclear energy. And that is why we are pushing hard towards nuclear energy. Clear? Now, the thing is that why do we need nuclear reactors? Okay, nuclear energy. Let's talk about these reasons one by one. First of all, like I said, stable base load supply. There is no intermittency. Okay, which is the case with solar and wind. So nuclear is reliable in that regard. Low greenhouse gas emissions. Okay, energy security and high energy density. Energy security, well, we'll get energy. If energy demand is going to increase, we need to ensure supply. That is energy security. High energy density, well, a small amount of nuclear fuel can produce a lot of nuclear energy. So that is high energy density. Then Vikasit Bharat goals. For that, nuclear energy is important. Now, we all know that nuclear energy is important for us. Then why aren't we able to expand nuclear energy on a massive scale? Well, because there are some challenges. What are those challenges? Well, first of all, there are legal challenges. There is a law in India called Atomic Energy Act, which prohibits private players from operating nuclear reactors. Only government can operate nuclear reactors, and there is a government agency called National Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited. Only this can operate nuclear reactors. So it doesn't allow private participation, and that's a big roadblock. Then CLNDA, Civil Liability Nuclear Damage Act. Okay, well, in case there is a nuclear accident, then what is the liability and on whom does this liability fall? Supplier, operator of nuclear power plant? Whose liability would it be to compensate the victims in case of a nuclear accident? Well, some of the clauses of this CLNDA Act basically deters foreign nuclear reactor manufacturers which have good technology from investing in India. So foreign nuclear power reactor manufacturers are not investing in India because they are fearful that in case there is a nuclear accident, government of India will, well, penalize them harshly. Clear? So that is the case. That is an issue. And because of that, there is slow progress in foreign collaboration. This is a problem. Then another problem, another challenge in nuclear power expansion is huge capital cost. It is said, well, if you are building a nuclear power plant, to produce 1 megawatt of electricity from nuclear power plant, you require $2 million. To produce 1 megawatt of electricity from coal power plants, you require just $1 million. Okay. So if someone does this cost benefit analysis, they will see that if you build a thermal power plant, coal power plant, we'll have to spend $1 million per megawatt. But in case of nuclear, well, it is 2 million. That means nuclear power is expensive. Clear? And last, well, to ensure safety of nuclear power plants, there is a body called Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. Well, this Atomic Energy Regulatory Board is not independent and does not have any statutory status. So it needs to be given more powers to ensure safety of nuclear power plants, right? So this is an issue. Clear? So these are the challenges. Now to solve for these challenges, what is the government doing? Well, first of all, government has said that we will amend Atomic Energy Act so as to allow private sector participation, and we will also amend CLNDA to allow foreign suppliers to participate or invest in India. So this will be done. Government has also said that we will reform AERB. Okay. As far as huge capital cost is concerned, well, government is thinking about small modular reactors. These are nuclear reactors which are small and easy to assemble. They reduce the capital cost considerably. Under nuclear energy mission, government has sanctioned 20,000 crore rupees for building 5 Indian small modular reactors. So we are investing heavily in small modular reactors to reduce this capital cost. And with the reform in CLNDA, foreign collaboration would also increase. So government has taken these steps. These steps are mentioned in your notes as well. So do check them out. Clear? All right. Now let's move forward and talk about fungus-resistant pineapple. It is a very simple news. You see, farmers who grow pineapple, well, they are worried about a particular kind of fungal infection which destroys their crops. Okay. And for that reason, they have to apply a lot of fungicides, like there are insecticides, pesticides. They have to apply a lot of fungicides on their pineapple crop so that it doesn't become a victim. Their crop doesn't become a victim to those fungal infections. Clear? Now, those fungicides have various health repercussions also. Once people, after harvesting that pineapple crop, if people eat that, there is some fungicide residue in them. Okay, so that might have some health repercussions, and more diet conscious people are now opting for organically produced pineapple, okay, on which no fungicide, insecticide, pesticide was applied. Now, farmers are caught in a fix. They are saying that if we don't apply fungicide, then our crops get destroyed because of this fungal infection. If we apply fungicides, then people are not that receptive towards buying that pineapple. So what do? So scientists at Bose Institute, which is an autonomous institute under Department of Science and Technology, under Ministry of Science and Technology. So scientists at Bose Institute have done some gene editing in the pineapple crop. So after altering some genes of pineapple, they have found that pineapple has some natural defense systems against these fungal infections. So if we alter those genes, pineapple will fight, that pineapple crop will fight against that fungus itself. So there is no need to apply fungicides. Okay, that was in the news. So let's talk about it. Okay, fungus-resistant pineapple. So scientists from Bose Institute basically said that there is a particular gene in pineapple crop which is called ACSERK3 gene. Just remember AC and K3. Okay. If we enhance this gene, overexpression, it's called overexpression of gene. If we enhance this gene, then this pineapple, well, its natural defenses rise up. Okay. Then this pineapple becomes capable of fighting this fungal infection by itself. Okay. What is the name of the fungus that attacks pineapple crop? It is called Fusarium fungus. So if we enhance this gene, this pineapple becomes resistant towards Fusarium fungus. Okay, this was basically shown by researchers or scientists at Bose Institute, which is an autonomous institute under Department of Science and Technology, which is under Ministry of Science and Technology. Clear? Now, what are the advantages of this? Benefits? Well, potential for multifungal resistant varieties. So if this pineapple can become resistant to that particular type of fungus, then it can also become resistant to other fungi. So we can create this. Then stronger defense against Fusarium. This would improve the yield. Clear? Then reduces reliance on chemical fungicides. Okay, this is important. And the thing is that if you enhance this gene, okay, it does not have any harmful impacts on the reproductive cycle of this pineapple. Okay, the future generations of this pineapple would not have problems with their genes if you edit the gene of the parent pineapple. So low risk of gene deletion over generations. So it is not harmful in general. as far as pineapple biodiversity is concerned. So these are the benefits. That's about it. Okay, not that important news, but still I thought that I should mention it. And now let's quickly shift our focus to third news item, and that is USA's decision to opt out of UNESCO. Now the thing is that USA, this is the third time that USA will opt out of UNESCO. Okay, 2 times this decision has been taken by USA under Donald Trump. So during Donald Trump's first term, USA opted out of UNESCO in 2018. Then Joe Biden's administration came, and then USA again joined UNESCO in 2023. Okay, so Donald Trump, if I have said something else, listen to me again. Okay, during Donald Trump's first term in 2018, Donald Trump opted out of UNESCO. Biden administration came in, then they joined UNESCO again in 2023, and now under Donald Trump again, they have again decided to opt out of UNESCO. Okay, so there is this love-hate relationship between UN and USA, and the reason cited by USA is that UNESCO is working against Israel. Basically, USA says that UNESCO is not in the national interest of USA, and it is basically spreading the propaganda against the state of Israel. All these things have been said. Therefore, we are opting out of UNESCO. That's the reason cited by USA. Now, that is not important for us. What is important for us is, what is UNESCO? What does UNESCO do? Let's talk about it, okay? So, US to withdraw from UNESCO. UNESCO stands for United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. Okay, as you can see. Okay, now, about UNESCO, it is a specialized agency of UN. It was founded on November 16, 1945. Its headquarters are in Paris and France, and it performs various initiatives. It performs various functions to promote education in the world, okay, to promote culture in the world. That is why UNESCO maintains World Heritage Sites and other things, okay, and to promote scientific research in this world, and also so that this scientific research, the benefits of this scientific research are given to everyone in this world. So UNESCO works towards that, education, science and culture. Now, to perform these functions, UNESCO has already launched many initiatives, okay. Some of these initiatives are, first of all, you have heard about this term called biosphere reserves. India has many biosphere reserves for the environment. World has many biosphere reserves. These biosphere reserves are designated as per UNESCO's Man and Biosphere program. So they do something for the environment. Then World Heritage Convention, under which World Heritage Sites are designated. We all know about World Heritage Sites, okay? Recently, Maratha Military Landscape has been inducted as the newest site under this World Heritage Site list, okay? Then, Convention for Safeguarding Intangible Heritage. So, there is something called heritage, like tangible heritage, like the Taj Mahal, Maratha Military Landscape, Kaziranga National Park. These are tangible, you can touch and feel them. Then there are some cultural things like ancient songs, ancient texts, Ramayana, Mahabharata. These are the intangible heritage of the world. They are also protected under UNESCO. Then UNESCO launched Global Education Coalition during COVID. It has also launched Ethics for Artificial Intelligence recommendation. Like I told you, it also works towards scientific research, right? So, it created guidelines for ethical use of AI. So these initiatives have been launched by UNESCO. Needless to say that UNESCO is very important for the world, and it would be a tragedy if USA gets out of it. Okay, because USA is the most powerful country in the world, and if USA gets out of a UN body, well, that UN body might become toothless. Okay, so it is a sad reality, a tragedy, but what can we say? Okay, the world is in a flux because of USA. Any which way. So that's the thing. And now let's talk about the last news item, which is National Broadcasting Day. Okay. Now, July 23rd, 1927 was the day when India made the first radio broadcast officially. Okay. And that is why we celebrate this day every year as National Broadcasting Day. So the official usage of radio broadcast was first used on July 23rd, 1927. Clear? That is why this day is marked. Clear? So first we'll talk about the history of radio in India. Then we'll also talk about the advantages of radio in India. Okay? How has radio served national development in India? Clear? Make sense? So let's first talk about the history of radio in India, radio broadcasting in India. So National Broadcasting Day, which is celebrated every year on July 23rd. Okay? So July 23rd, 1927. There was this company called Indian Broadcasting Company. They had multiple stations. Their Bombay station made its first radio broadcast on July 23rd, 1927. That is why this day is important. Though that doesn't mean that radio was not used before 1927. In fact, radio in India has been used since 1923, 1924. Okay? People used to set up radio stations, some scientists used to set up radio stations and, well, they used to make their broadcast. But all of that was unofficial. It was in 1927 that the first official broadcast was made. Clear? Then later in 1930, this Indian Broadcasting Company was taken over by British and they renamed it as Indian State Broadcasting Service. Then in 1936, this ISBS was restructured and it was renamed as All India Radio and kept under Department of Labour and Industries during British rule. Then when India got independence, All India Radio came up with Indian government, right? It became a part of Indian government. But there was another name added to All India Radio. So Akashvani was formally adopted as the national broadcaster's name in 1956. Then many programs were launched, Krishi Darshan, Vivid Bharati for entertainment, and radio has been going on and on and on and on. Right? So this is the brief history of radio broadcasting in India. Now, how has radio served India? Let's talk about this. So role played by radio for nation building, because government's various awareness campaigns for agricultural awareness, how should farmer use fertilizers, okay, these were broadcasted on radio. Then we should not believe in caste system, social messages were broadcasted through radio, and many things, many educational programs were launched through radio. So it did play a role in nation building. Plus, unofficial radio played a role in India's freedom struggle, putting across the message of freedom fighters to the people. Okay, so that was the thing. Then, through various cultural programs, Vivid Bharati, songs, and many other programs in All India Radio, well, we were promoting composite culture of India from different parts of India. So, promotion of Indian culture. And you know what? All India Radio has an external services division. Okay, this external services division runs many radio programs in over 100 countries. Okay, some programs are in Indian languages, some foreign languages. So around in 11 Indian languages and 16 foreign languages. Now, when you basically run foreign programs, you are basically conveying India's message to the world. This enhances our soft power. So radio plays a key role in enhancing India's soft power, right? So that is the thing. And that's about it. That's all you need to know. And with that, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I'm sure it has added value to your preparation. But I say this every time. It will add more value if you're consistent and regular with this lecture series, number one. And number two, you revise this lecture from the notes provided by us. Please do not forget to do that. And on that note, I'll be signing off with the promise of seeing you again with another set of news items. Thank you, everyone.